Hello, beautiful soul, and welcome to Spiritually Empowered Podcast. I have a special guest with me in-house in my temple space. His name is Julian Desta, and he is a certified sound healing guide, yoga and meditation teacher, Reiki Master Practitioner, and artist. Julian is a special soul in the RVA community. He offers sound healing, Reiki trainings, and he was actually in my From Pain to Purpose program as a guest guide. He did a wonderful elemental sound healing for us. So I'm super, super stoked to have a chat with him today. Thank you for tuning in. Let's take a deep breath together. And release. Beautiful. Hi, Julian. How are you?
I'm doing well, Ashley. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. So we are sipping some homemade lavender lemonade right now.
Yes, delicious.
Made by yours truly. You're very welcome for that. I'm glad you like it. All right. So I love to start with, what does being in your spiritual power mean to you? What does spiritually empowered mean for Julian?
It's a great question. I would have to say tapping into your natural joy. Things that, it's not a thing that you have to force. It doesn't require much effort. It's just the thing that you truly enjoy and embody most about doing in your life day to day. It doesn't have to be something that you are paid for. It's something that is almost like playtime for you in a sense. And at the same time, it's a win-win situation. It's empowering you. You feel uplifted. You feel happy. You feel free to just be whatever that is in that moment. So, yeah.
I love that. I love that. And with that in mind, what keeps us from that natural state of flow and joy? What stops us from experiencing that?
Fear. Fear comes in, and it's okay, but it's okay to be afraid of things, but not to let it limit you. And that's where fear can be a detriment, where fear becomes a blocker of you pursuing the things that you love to do, to try new things, to be curious. So we have to really every day almost push that fear boundary back just a little bit more, so we can actually test and see what's out there available to us, because we will never know until we actually take that step over that little boundary of fear, which is a mindset, and then really step into curiosity and wonder and play, and not to be so hard on ourselves, because fear does that too. We tend to use that as a way to not do things instead of being curious about those things and saying, well, what if this could happen, or what if this could happen? So I definitely say fear would be a major thing that stops us. Yeah.
I love that. Beautiful. Very true. I find that sometimes what I fear most is also what I desire most. So sometimes when fear comes in for me, it's almost like a signal that something is changing, that I'm pressing on my edges.
Yes.
So I think we can make it mean whatever we want to make it mean, right? Our
true.
Beliefs and our stories about said fear can determine how it impacts us.
Yes, we can.
Right?
Yes, definitely.
So would love to ask, how do you move with that edge in your daily life? Like, what do you do to see clearly what's in front of you versus being blinded by the fear that's natural, right? It's things that's going to come up. So what do you do to not let that hold you back?
I would definitely say a daily meditation practice, coming back to yourself. Everything that we see is a projection of ourselves. But we also need to be able to find the center within that. And once we can find that center, then we can start to properly interact with whatever's happening around us. Even if it is something that might cause us a little bit of fear, or might cause us excitement even, or might cause us any type of feeling, to know that we have our center, like we are the center of all of these things that are happening around us. So really just every day coming back. So I try to do a meditation practice in the morning in the evening. Even sometimes if I have some downtime at work, just find that stillness. And when you can find that place, it's almost like that's where the spark, where everything else happens. So I definitely find that something that is very important, just to find that center point within yourself every day. And that takes practice too, because as you are sitting and finding that stillness, all these things are coming up and swirling around.
Yes.
But if you can start to become the witness of that, you'll find that stuff starts to settle and settle and settle until there's just you. So yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, for somebody that might not meditate, once they sit down and get quiet, sometimes, things can be seen that can't be unseen.
Yeah.
So that's a beautiful point of, things will come up if we're avoiding thoughts, avoiding decisions, it's all going to kind of be there. But you mentioned this witness. How would you teach meditation? What would be one of the first things that you would say to somebody who feels a lot of thoughts or feels a lot of stuff when they go to sit down?
I would say is that I think it's how people approach meditation, because as soon as they sit down, they're like, my thoughts. I'm like, yeah, your thoughts. And they're like, I can't stop them. I was like, why would you stop them? The mind is meant to think. Every thought's come and go all the time. So there's no point in trying to stop the thought. What you should be really trying to focus on is to look at the thought. Just witness it. Just watch what's coming up. Being fully present and aware of what's coming up within you. And once you start to do that, then the thought almost itself recognizes that there's a witness and saying like, oh, I'm being watched. And then as it notices that, it starts to settle and settle and settle. And then another thought will come up. You watch that one. And then another one. And then another one. And you just keep watching. But what you find is that each time you start to watch those thoughts and just witness it. Don't try to label it. Don't try to figure it out. Just observe. It starts to settle itself down into this place of stillness. So that's what I always recommend. Just watch. Don't try. And start small. You don't have to do like 15 minutes. You don't have to do 30 minutes. Start with 3 minutes.
Totally.
And if you can find that, and you find that space good for 3 minutes, then increase to 5, then 7, 8, 10, whatever you choose. Some people don't have that much time in a day to find that stillness point. So just doing a quick 3 minutes, if you can just find that stillness for 3 minutes, it's better than not having that chance to do that, because you are your home. So to be able to come to yourself and sit with yourself and be at home within yourself, that's probably the best feeling you could feel, is knowing that you have this safe place to come to within yourself. So
I love that. You are your home. The temple is within you. Yes. I love that. I feel like as a spiritual seeker and somebody that's reaching for the next level, that's what we're here to do, is evolve. It's a natural thing. Life is evolving, and so we're naturally wanting more and wanting to create more. But when I hear you talk, I'm like, wow, you have found the dance of that, both seeking and being. Seeking and being, right? And I have found that seeking can also be a distraction on the path of being. Everything in moderation, right? How
everything
much?
In moderation, exactly.
How much are we trying to alter our consciousness? And I love paradox. I'm like, when I go into myself and love the one in me that judges, and love the one in me that wants to be different, and really open my capacity to welcome what is, that's like the secret key for me. Something shifts as a byproduct. So I'm like, if you want to learn alchemy, you don't try to do alchemy. You fucking love all of it, all of you. And something happens as a byproduct of that. So what are your thoughts? What
all encompassing, like you said, is to be able to look at yourself, the good parts of yourself, what you would label not so good parts, or the harder things to accept about yourself. But like you said, once you start to do that, things start to shift. It really comes back to awareness. Like the more aware we are, the more our lives start to align. It's like when we're not aware, it's like we're walking with blinders on and we don't see all of this other possibility. But as the awareness increased, then the blinders tilt back a little bit more open. Then we can see like, oh, wow, like all these possibilities that are happening and I have access to it. So, I would definitely say, and that's what comes with meditation, is a deeper awareness of things that are like within us, like this power almost within us, is that like, oh, okay, like I do have say, I do matter, I do have my energy affects the energy and everything else that is happening. And so I think it's definitely that awareness is the ultimate alchemy of all things, because then you have these tools, these understanding like, oh, I can access the air, I can access the nature, I can access the things within me, and then everything starts to mix up and then that spark of alchemy starts to happen, tapping into those elements.
Beautiful. When was the last time, Julian, you felt spirit speak to you? And you can change those words. We all, spirit, divine, God, goddess, source. When was the last time you felt a direct voice or guidance and followed it?
Recently, lately, my latest take on my spiritual development has been tapping into the Akashic records. And so really I find it fascinating what I'm learning and from that realm and what's coming in. And so that would probably, I would say the last one I did was maybe like a few days ago. And sure enough, like spirit was coming in loud and clear, and it stuck. That's how I know it was loud and clear, because it wasn't something like I just
fleeting,
like one of those thoughts of meditation, like why are all these thoughts happening? It was this boom, like, oh, okay. So yeah, that was recently, and it stuck with me, and it's definitely a guide. Once that spirit and that connection comes in, it's something that you can not look away from. You're like, I have to pay attention to this, because this is why did it come this way at this time? And then you have to start to question those things and be like, because it's time. It's time for you to listen. It's time for you to hear that message, or you wouldn't have heard it, Yep.
And did you find that in stillness? Did that come to you in a meditation? Or
It was, yes. I was doing just a reading on myself, and asking whatever questions I was asking, and just waited.
Just waiting.
I just waited. I wasn't trying to, I just sat there and just asked these questions, a few times, and then I just settled. And then as I went deeper and deeper into the Akashic record, it's like that voice became louder and louder. And next thing, and it wasn't like this paragraph or anything. It was sort of like one or two words, like bow, bow. And I was like, oh, okay.
With an energy underneath of it, right? With this transmission with the words, probably.
Exactly. And I was like, whoa, okay. And of course I had to write it down, and it's still there. Like I can, even talking about it now, it's like that experience of that moment is coming back fully into my consciousness. Like, so
that's so beautiful. That reminds me, this morning I was like, because we talked about before this how there's a transition happening externally, internally, especially with this new moon. If you, the beautiful listener, is listening during this new moon, the transition will go beyond the new moon, though, right? This is just the time that we're in. And I was sitting at my kitchen table this morning drinking coffee like I do most every morning. I love that ritual after I meditate of just being with that cup of coffee and journaling. And I started to feel this stress well up, this feeling in my body of stress. And I sat with it, and I kind of, looked on Instagram and just, did the distraction thing, not wrong or bad or right or whatever. It just is what it is. And I was like, oh, you know what? I said to myself, I had a session earlier today. I said, well, I could cancel the session and tell my beautiful friend that I'm anxious. And I just felt my body. I was like, no. And so I was like, okay. So I ended up changing my outfit, which, being a rising Aries and this Aries energy, our presentation makes a difference. Who are we being? For me, it does, at least. Maybe it's not that for everybody. But I changed.
Well, it's all energy, right? So, it does make a difference.
The colors and the textures, yes. So I changed, and I went outside, and I got my shamanic altar, and I stepped into the sacred. And I opened the directions, and it inspired me so much, because as soon as I clicked into the sacred, that is my home. and I felt all that stress wash away. And then I just got my medicine stones and just recommitted to my divine calling path. Recommitted. I am fully here for what I am destined to do. I'm not living by the mind and by the shoulds. I'm here to be a spiritual being on the earth and to answer that call within the great mystery.
Yeah.
We can't always know everything, right? What fun
true.
would that be?
Exactly.
And then
It'd be done.
Yeah, that'd be it.
The
See ya.
game's done.
That's correct.
I love it.
Yeah, and I just got these I clicked back in. So it feels like you had a similar experience of going into the sacred, going into the Akashic, and having that time to answer these big questions, right? We can look at the physical world, we can search and look under the couch and look under the stone, and that's great and all, but when we step out of everyday mind and into sacred mind and open that dialogue with spirit, which, like you said, involves listening. I loved how you said that. Then we can really receive some cool stuff. And the thing is, as I'm sure you've realized, it's not always what we think it's going to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
It's very true.
I love that.
Yeah, that's you hit it right on the nail. Because now that you said that was the word actually that came through too, was to remember. To remember who we truly are, beyond the body, beyond the flesh, beyond the minds and the thoughts, who we truly are. And that's a journey in itself, because we are in these bodies. We do have these minds and these thoughts. But we also know that this is temporary. All this is a temporary thing. So then we have to really remember, who are we beyond this flesh, beyond these thoughts and these feelings, and practicing, whatever practice you have that helps you connect to that source, helps you remember. Because I think that's what's interesting about being human, is that being here, we have forgotten a lot of our true self, and we're here to remember. Part of that journey is to remember our true self too, and connect to that and help others remember who they truly are. And so that remembering it's a process through the whole life journey, constantly remembering who we are and embodying that, trusting that, because we will come to that place and then we will forget, or we won't trust it, and then we have to almost start over again.
Go around the block
and keep going. But it really to embody it and trust it for what we are truly feeling, know it is, and then moving forward with that energy. It definitely is it takes you on the path I think we're all meant to be on. Because it's not a guessing path anymore. It's like, yes, this is who I am. This is what I'm meant to be and do. And you won't always know it in a moment, but if you're truly coming back to knowing yourself, that's your guidance system. It won't steer you astray.
Yes. And I heard in that so much, first of all, that was absolutely beautiful. Beautiful. It's not a guess, which to me is like, it's not a wavering. I'm almost, it's like full. I've practiced that, especially being a woman and wanting, to bring in a divine masculine of certainty, of knowingness, of that level of intentionality, that clarity. And it could be, I know 100% that I don't know.
Yeah.
You could dance in that space.
Yep, and that's completely fine. But it's that feeling of being okay.
That's
like, I'm okay in that space. And that is part of your guidance system. It's like you're not worried anymore. And then the fear doesn't come up to block that. So you're like, okay, well, I'm in this unknown space, and that's completely fine, and I'm comfortable being there. That level of trust, again, is really important.
I feel like the definition of enlightenment could be, which you could say, if there was a goal to spiritual practice, that's a paradox too, because there's not about the destination. But if there was a goal, it would be enlightenment, which that's talked about in all these different mystical traditions of yoga and samadhi and nirvana, and the absorption into who we are, being absorbed, releasing into this larger self, if you will. So what are your beliefs on that?
I think there's two ways you can get there. One way is to just live your life. And once you pass, you will become enlightened. You will return to source. You will have this experience. Another way, which is I think a lot harder, is as you're living, to be able to connect to that source, and then again trust that.
Yes.
And a lot of layers will be shed as you're living, because you will start to be like understanding, remembering yourself, like, well, this isn't me. This isn't me. This isn't me. This isn't me. And then you will start to embody what truly is you and live that authentically. And it is a place where I feel that when you are truly enlightened, like your connection to everything becomes strong, very strong, to nature, to our pets, to our family, to our friends, to the strangers that we supposedly don't know. Like our connection increases. And I am not a person who is fully enlightened. I can honestly say that. But I enjoy that path and that journey to discover who I truly am. And when I do that, I can see that in others. Like, I'm like, if I can start to embody and feel these things in myself, then I start to see that in others. Then I start to feel that connection to everything. And then I think you're on this cusp of starting your enlightenment journey there. Yeah.
Beautiful, Julian. Well, I have to challenge that, though, with a little Zen Buddhism, because when I studied a little bit of that in college and just went on this exploration, I'm still on it, of all these mystical paths. And Zen Buddhism will say, you're already the awakened one.
That's it.
You've just forgotten. So it's always this twofold. And I feel like, because if we are able to reach enlightenment in this life, which I believe so, I feel like we can be sad and enlightened. I don't think enlightenment is necessarily a perfect, happy human, because I don't think that is real. I think the Dalai Lama still gets angry. I think that it's something beyond our changing thoughts and emotions. And I like to play with enlightenment is no resistance to the now. Whether you're grieving or celebrating or in a sexual experience, whatever it is, when there's a full fuck yes to the present moment, perhaps that is that clear channel through the spine of awakening, when there's no resistance. And that can be offensive to somebody who's going through real pain, right? That can be a lot to even think about. Whoa, how can I let this grief move through me freely? How can I grieve to the point of freedom, and also know when I need to kind of come back in? And because anytime we're doing a deep emotional experience, we do want to know our edges and kind of come back to center, relax, have a sweet potato. I always say that, like, go have a sweet potato, touch your arms, return to pleasure. If you're having this deep, journey into the pain body, make that return. So I feel like you can be any type of way if you're just allowing it, then that is that back door.
Well, as you said, if we are already there and we're just having this journey to remember that, then truly we already are that. We don't have to fight it. We don't have to force it. All we have to do is just live and be fully as much as we can, and whatever that looks like in these bodies right now, knowing that we are already that.
That's right.
And that can take a lot of weight off of you trying to be anything, because you already are. So,
yes. That reminds me, something I love, you all beautiful listeners, about Julian is his relationship to the Tao Te Ching. I just feel it in his energy, this just gentle power, really, of being in the flow of life with nature, with the seasons, with change. So I love that. And I was like, I know I need to ask about the Tao Te Ching. And that reminds me, if we're already that, if we're already there, how does that relate to this concept of the uncarved block and what is essential? This removal. The path is perhaps not a gaining, but a removal of that which is not essential. And what is essential is always present. So whatever you want to speak to about the Tao Te Ching, which for those of you who might not know about it, maybe start there and take it wherever you want to take it.
Well, Tao Te Ching's a ancient text written by Lao Tzu, and I find I've read a lot of different spiritual texts, but something about the Tao definitely over the years has resonated over and over again, because I think it emptied all the dogma, all of looking to point here or there for wisdom when it was always pointing back to yourself, to look within yourself. And then again, as we said before, when we look within ourselves, our awareness increases, and we see that everything that we experience is us, and therefore we stop fighting. Because we understand this is just a natural course of progression of life. Everything is a part of it. You are a part of it. Everything that you experience is a part of it. So then we're not forcing as much. And knowing that underlining all of this physical layer is energy. And that is the true, unchanging, always eternal force that is making anything physical happen in this realm. That's right. So, the Tao is just it for me. I've been reading it over like 25 years now. My same little pocket one that I've had. It looks very worn, but I just love how it really just always brings me back to center. Always bring me back to myself. Because at times, even I start looking at the world and be like, what's going on? What is totally going on? Right. And then I read a part of the Tao, and it just always just centers me. It grounds me. It has a grounding energy when you read it. And I particularly don't remember any specific verse because it is always expanding. Even when I reread a verse after reading it 10, 20 years, it still has this fresh wisdom to it. And I'm like, wow, this is profoundly whoa. Timeless. And it centers me. It just like meditation. It just brings me to that moment okay. Everything is fine. Everything is okay. And I can't say enough about it. I mean, because it talks about emptiness. Yes, tell us. A lot about the emptiness of things and how we're constantly trying to fill things with our own ideas, with our perceptions, and we're constantly trying to fill. But truly, when we come with an empty cup and we every day, almost approaching every day as brand new instead of a continuation, we start to, again, start straight from that center point, that freshness, that newness. That's life. Life is always fresh. It's always new. It's always starting from now. And so we don't have to hold on to the past. We can, but that becomes very heavy. We don't have to worry about the future. We can, but that causes a lot of stress too, worrying. But to be fully present in this moment, breathing, talking with Ashley, looking at your beautiful cat, sitting on his beautiful rug, drinking his wonderful tea, and being fully embraced in now. And then you're like, whoa, it's perfect. The moment is perfect.
We're healed.
If we can come back to that each moment and find that healing in each moment, then we are. Yeah. That's right.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I want to go back. I would love to hear a little bit about your story. When was a time, Julian, where you were stressed, or what was whatever you want to share about your dark night of the soul? Take us back wherever you want to go in the way of from pain to purpose. Let's go to, when was this not natural for you, or when, tell us about your dark night and what led you to do energy medicine and what led you to this path of awakening.
Let's see. That's a really great question. I have to go flipping
definitely
really. I would definitely say, I don't know, even since I was in my teens, there was this question of wonder of what's this all about? And I was energetic, definitely just seeking, just trying, but and I was not a found person then. I was just lost, just trying to figure things out, feeling things out. But there was always a curiosity that was always lingering. Even since my 18, 19, 20s, I was always just searching for the truth, basically. What is truth? What does that look like? And so I went all over the place, different type of practices, Rastafarianism, Christianity, all these things. And really starting to empty my cup. As I was filling it, I was like, it doesn't feel balanced here. So I would take something out, or I would use other methods to add on to that, instead of some people becoming very just strict or dogmatic, like I'm just going to study this one thing and that's going to lead me. I was just like a buffet, just picking from different things. Cool. So I would have to say, like, I'm be 47 this year, but ever since my 20s, I've been on that path seeking truth. And energy medicine actually was probably within the last 10 years that I really started tapping into energy medicine. As I have always been interested in music and instruments. That's been something that has been my truth, because I saw it as a unifying force. Everybody connects to music. Everybody feels something in music. Right. It brings people together from all walks of life. Everybody comes to here to experience that sound vibration. Yes. It calls to our heart, that heartbeat rhythm. As I started doing, it was really interesting because I wasn't looking to even be a yoga teacher at a certain point, and it just sort of happened. I found myself being curious about a certain type of yoga, which led me into my yoga teacher training. And in that time, sound was coming at the same moment. Like I was experimenting with didgeridoos. Somebody gifted me a singing bowl. Wow. And so these things sort of just started happening. Cool. I wasn't even trying, I want to do this. It just started to gradually come in. And I started to play with it, interact with it, and just notice how it was making me feel at first, which was like really good, at peace, happy, joyful. And then I started to use it in my yoga classes. And just had such a profound feedback from people, like, of what they were experiencing. And it kept me very interested in that journey of studying, like, what is it that it's keeping people very engaged and wanting more of this. And it's the energy of it. It's the vibration. It's the frequencies. And from there, it led me into Tai Chi, Reiki, Capoeira. All these things have a very deep spiritual energy to it. And so I was actually just connecting the dots. And I was like, oh, this has a similar energy. This has a similar energy. Even though they're coming from different parts of the world, I was experiencing similar energy frequencies. And that kept me like wow, like this comes from Brazil and this comes from China and this comes from here, but they all have this energetic frequency that I'm recognizing that is like very similar. It has a familiar feel. Even though we access it differently, it still has this energy to it. And so I just kept going, and that's what it's taught me. It's like this energy is everywhere. It's vast. It is underlining all our physical reality, and we have access to it anytime we want to, because it is part of us. We are the ones who are channeling it and embodying it as we speak. So back in my 20s, I had no idea. I was just out there, but my curiosity is what brought me into this energy practice that I'm now happy to say, like, it's still sustaining me. It's still helping me, teaching me too. It's like, again, it's no destination. It's still the journey that we're still on, and it's still teaching us. It's still molding us. It's letting me know about things that otherwise, like I tell people all the time, it's like a teacher can only teach you so much. The energy is going to really tell you what you need to know. So tap into the energy. It's going to tell you something totally different than even what I can share with you. It's going to talk to you and give you that message, or lead you on the right path. So,
Beautiful. What an empowering journey. I love that you just were led in that curiosity. And I feel similar of like, what's over here and 12 a.m. What's the emerald tablets and who's Thoth and what's hermetic principles and wow. So how has sound helped you heal? What is and I would even love to ask, what is a soul wound or a challenge that you have felt incredible healing around through these methods?
I've had physical, I've had mental, emotional healing through sound. And I can say, like, the singing bowls, they came later, but it was the didgeridoo. That one instrument, like, was profoundly really connected me to my healing. And what I found is that when I was doing yoga and doing my yoga teacher trainings and everything, and then I would do meditation, it was I liked the meditation. But when I started using the didgeridoo and then following a meditation after that, it was like, I always explain it as like I blow all the thoughts out. And it's instantly when I meditate, it's like a clean slate every single time. And I couldn't explain it to anybody. I was like, yo, it's like I played a dig. It's something about the vibration and stuff, but it just settles the brain frequency to like this really like just boop right there. And so that was really profound for me. So even today, I still love to do my didgeridoo and meditate and just find that still space from that practice. Even physically, I remember one time I was working with another practitioner, and we were doing a sound bath, and I came in with a runny nose, and I was like, I want to be trying to like sniffle like through this whole sound bath and everything. I was like, this is going to be crazy. And so I like stuffed my nose, got like some tissue and stuffed my nose, and we did the sound bath. And then by the time the sound bath was over, like the runny nose was gone, completely cleared up. So again, the vibrations will show you like how it can heal you physically, mentally, like clear your spirit up. I've had so many profound experiences working with different clients and stuff, and just how they've been able to tap into past lives and or go to the cosmos or experience other parts of their body, like their energetic body, that they weren't able to experience in any other but through sound. So just proof is in the pudding. Like from my own my own personal practice, but then just seeing it, how it affects other people. I was like, oh, there's something potent, some potent medicine here that I need to just keep exploring and tapping into. But it definitely started with that. The didgeridoo was like, and that was another part of my path. When we have these natural gifts that sometimes we don't know until we step past that boundary and experience it. We were like, whoa. So for me, the didgeridoo came quite naturally. Like it's a very hard thing for people to learn. I've been trying to teach people for a long time, and it's not easy. But it came to me actually quite naturally, and that was another thing. And then I found that was one of my natural gifts, to be able to tap into like instrument energy and just play it naturally. You know, somebody the other day asked me like, how many instruments do I play? I was like, I don't know. I don't know. It's just if I get interested in an instrument, I will pick it up and I will sit with it. It's a relationship, and I will sit with that energy, and then naturally, slowly, I'll be able to figure out how to play that instrument. So that was one of my, just tapping into like, oh, that's my, and I didn't even think about it like that. Like, oh, that's one of my gifts. It's like to be able to tap into instruments and energy and create that energy that is soothing and healing for people. But I never would have known that if I didn't try that didgeridoo first.
Right. Sounds like you're activating something.
Yeah.
And it is a partnership. When I got my shamanic drum, this was before I channeled winged alchemy. I got this drum. I just felt called to it, and it had this big black owl on it. And there and behold, that becomes, the symbol of winged alchemy. I had no idea. And I just look at the drum, and just similar to what you said, it's a relationship. I didn't even play it at first. And then I was like, whoa, when I play this, I need to really hold the back of it nice and tight. So learning about how it wants to be played. And when I'm sitting by a fire in a fire ceremony, I heat it up by the fire. There's something so powerful. I got asked to lead a fire ceremony for a women's circle. And after the ceremony, we were all standing around, and I felt the calling to offer my voice and sound, which in the past has been a little intimidating. Ashley, speak in light language. I remember when I was doing Reiki and I first heard the call to sing, I was like, what? For me, integrity is so key. It's like if spirit says sing, I sing. Yeah. It's very serious. I will walk. I always say, I love when spirit tells me what to do. Like, let's go.
Let go.
And so I've been just beautifully, not challenged, not pushed, but invited into my voice. And I remember after the ceremony, we were all standing around, and I just, was warming up the drum to sing, because when it's cold, it, doesn't play, right?
Yes.
So kneeling by the fire and just heating it up and having everybody just, it was so sacred. And then hearing it come to life.
Yeah, that sounds
These
beautiful.
things are alive,
Yes,
aren't
yes,
they?
yes.
And it is and that's such a big piece of shamanism, is how do I relate to my couch? How do I relate to this? How do I relate to my partner? What is my relationship? And then the other piece is, it ain't about judging the relationship and judging yourself. It's just about, is there more freedom? Is there more harmony? Is there more love? Because for me, years ago, when I was getting into this path of awareness, I was like, ooh, I'm addicted to this. Ooh, I do this. Ooh, the world's in shambles.
Yeah.
So how do we stay in the world and stay in our hearts as this awareness opens up? So what tools do you have for the people, Julian, about how do you, and I'm sure it has to do with your consistency in your practices. The word consistency is coming up. You show up in stillness. So how do you stay, and I wrote this down, steady in this world that's like,
for me is to embrace my childhood self, to stay in my joy, to things that bring me happiness. So it could be just sitting outside playing my ocarina. It could be laughing with friends. It could be drawing, painting in the moment. Always tapping into your joy center really helps bring me back into balance when things seem like woo, 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 woo. I can't stress that enough. Find what brings, and I tell people that, like, come back to yourself daily, because so much of this world is pulling us, our energy outside of ourselves. So come back. If that is just sitting there watching a show on TV that just brings you joy, if it is just reading a good book, if it is painting, if it is soaking in that hot bath and just soothing, come back and nurture yourself. Give yourself joy. Give yourself happiness. Don't wait for it to happen. Like, we are the creators. Again, everything starts from us. So we can create that joy. We can create that happiness. And we have it at any moment. We just have to remember that we have access to it and we can tap into it. So, today I will be home eventually playing my handpan or doing something just for that moment of joy, just to be able to connect to that instrument, feel that energy, and smile to myself knowing that I have that always. Until I start breathing, I can always tap into that. And it doesn't have to be, you need an expensive instrument or anything. Like you said, we have our voices. That's the first instrument. And to be able, and you don't have to have this excellent, perfect voice. I tell people that in my sound healing, because I teach also vocal toning with the instruments. And that it's not about having the perfect voice. It's about connecting your voice, connecting to your voice, and connecting to a voice in an instrument. If you can do that, you're good, So definitely finding that joy every single day really keeps me steady. Like, truly, like, I have to do something for me every day. As I do, this work as the work that I do as my job, what I do as my pleasure things. I still have to find that time to connect to me and make me happy, because, it's up to me.
It sounds like you value intimacy with self.
Yeah, definitely.
Because our values, I love this, our values determine our actions and our behaviors.
Yes.
So it sounds like you really value that place of steadiness. You value a connection to you.
Oh, yes, definitely.
That's beautiful.
Definitely.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Ooh, oh my gosh. Where do we want to go next? What else do you want to tell us about your work? What are you inspired by? What do you do in the world? Share with us a little bit about what you offer.
So I, as you know, I do sound healing. I do trainings. I do Reiki, art. All these things I really enjoy. I like to do things where I feel like it's a win-win situation. It's not only giving to somebody else, but it also is giving right back to me in the same moment. So all these practices, like, I find that balance, like, that I'm gaining something, the person is gaining something, and that's how the vibration starts to elevate. So I do that. I work with children because they keep me joyful, because it's the innocence, right? It's that they're still like at awe of this world. Right. And they remind me that I should too be in awe of this world, like everything, like each moment, and to be playful, to be silly, not take things so seriously, even though our work is serious, but to also find the play and the joy within it. I can't express that enough. I see people who are just so serious and so rigid, in their thought process, and I'm like, man, like me looking at that, it's like, man, missing out. There's so much play to be had and fun to be had, that we have to truly embrace that at each moment, because again, we're temporary. This isn't going to be forever thing. So what are we going to do in this moment? How are we going to find joy in this moment? And just tapping into that is important. But I just want to basically just share that with people, just joy, energy, and how we can heal ourselves through those modalities. Sometimes we feel like we have to be so serious about it. Again, it's like, no, like have fun with it. Have fun exploring yourself, finding out what you like, what you don't like, what you vibe with, what you don't vibe with. Everything is trying to guide you. So the more you open up to that space, the more it will guide you. It's like when we get that rigidness that we don't try these things, or we don't want to have play over here, or I have to be so work for oriented and focused that I miss all this play and this laughter and this joy that can be had. So connecting to that every day, connecting to people who want to embrace that, that's how you even find your community, people who are sort of on that same thing, just connecting to a playful spirit, just enjoy each other, enjoy company, laugh, play instruments, dance, write together, sing together, recite poetry, read a book, share ideas. All this sharing is like what connects us, because we'll find out that we're more alike than we are different when we do. So, yeah.
Woo. Hands up to that share. I needed to hear that. Thank you. Who else needed to hear that? Oh my gosh. My core value was integrity for many years. And being somebody who's experienced addiction, and being somebody who's experienced all those past stories that aren't me anymore. They're just not here. It even feels weird to say them, because it's just not who I am anymore. I've taken up, I was like, I wonder what's going to happen if I make my number one core value joy. And so what you just shared was medicine for me, because that's my new zone. That's what's guiding me now. And I've already got the integrity piece of rightness and wrongness and leftness and rightness and this dutiful, energy. And now I get to experiment a new vision, a new binocular, like a new way to be with life. So thank you for that. That was really meaningful. I can't wait to re-listen to that and just receive it again. How do you want to be remembered?
Ooh.
Boom. Speaking of things that are temporary.
Yes.
Yeah, you said it.
A person who tried to help people look, I guess, a little bit closer at themselves. I don't want to lead you anywhere outside yourself. I want you to come back to you and remember who you are, and remember what makes you happy, and remember the joy. And that's how I want to be remembered. Like, it's not really complicated. I don't want to make it. I just want you to be happy. I want to be happy. I want you to be happy. I want you to find that through yourself, because like I said, this world will give you all of that, but then you will still be left for you to find it within yourself. So always going to try to be the person. If you remember me, it's like, he always remembered me. He always tried to make me, remind me to be happy, to find joy, to find my truth, to look within myself. If I want to be remembered as the guy who's pointing back at you, it's like look within, because that's where it's at.
Great visual. Oh, I love that. That's so powerful. Simplicity is
truly
so key. What's that quote that's like, it takes a genius to make something simple. It's like, if a child can read it, that's what it is, right?
I like that.
Amazing. One more question, I
Yes.
feel, as we wrap this up, and thank you so much for being here. It's been
Thank you
absolutely
for having
amazing.
me.
Yes, absolutely. Such a fun combo. What would you say to a sensitive soul who feels these gifts rising up within them, who wants to be financially free, who wants to share their medicine with the world? What would you say to that person who's on the brink of, wanting to build their legacy with their gifts?
It's funny. I was talking with my teacher recently. We were sitting out on his porch, and we were talking about sound healing. And I mentioned to him, I was like, to wanting to help people. And he asked me this interesting question. He's like, well, what if you can't help anyone? What if it doesn't help, or what you do? And I was like, wow. I was like, I really hadn't thought about that. Then he's like, make sure that whatever you do is something that you love and you enjoy first. So it really should, whatever you're doing should be bringing you joy first. And that, again, will guide you. That will set you free, because you're no longer worried about, well, what if? All you know is that if I do this, it will bring me joy, it will make me happy. To sit amongst my bowls and to all this, it makes me very happy to be there. I feel very centered. I feel very at peace. Beautiful. And from there, all those things will start to come of their own. Like, that's really how it started. I just started embracing these things and sharing what I loved with people. And then people resonated with it. They're like, oh, I love this too. And then things came, opportunities came. Things started to come my way just very naturally through sharing what I loved. And I know that I'm helping, but again, this is customer service. You're not going to help everybody. Somebody's going to be like, or this or that.
That's right.
So again, you have to remember, again, why are you doing it? So why am I an artist? Because I love being an artist. Why I am a Reiki practitioner? Because I love feeling that energy and flowing through and connecting to the source. Why do I do sound healing? Because I love to feel the vibrations in my own ears and feeling and seeing how it all just interconnects with everything else. It's the joy. It really is the love, And so find something you love, nurture that, learn about it, research it, and then share it with the world. And all the things will come.
Ooh. Beautiful. 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 Thank you for that.
No, thank you.
Is there anything else you want to share with us, Julian, before we talk about how the beautiful listeners can find you and learn from you if they so desire?
I think I've said it all right now. It's just truly just tap into your love center and what makes you happy. Find that first. Once you find that truly almost becomes like your gift and your superpower, and to be able to share that, because you, again, don't need anything else outside of you. Once you know that you have that, you're like, oh, I'm not feeling so well. I know what I can do to make me feel better. Or I've had a crazy day. I know what I can do to shift the energy to make me feel in a more balanced place. Once you truly know that about yourself and learn more about yourself, then you're gonna be okay. It's like and that's where we have to come back to ourselves daily, because everything is pulling us. And so sometimes we get confused about what is actually us and what is truly us. So coming back to ourselves daily will help us truly remember who we are. And that's all you need, truly.
Ooh, beautiful. I love it. So where can people find you? What's your Instagram, website? And we'll link it all in the show notes. But what's coming up and how can we get on board with what you're creating?
I can be found at ajujufrequency.com. Also, a Juju Frequency on Instagram. Julian Desta on Facebook. And I promote all my sound healings through all those modalities. And next, we got coming up is I'm actually organizing our 6-hour sound bath at the Earth Day celebration here at Living Waters, which is this Saturday from 9 a.m. all the way until 8 o'clock p.m., where they're going to be doing yoga, ecstatic dance, beekeeping, 6-hour sound bath, and a lot of other stuff. I'm not even sure of everything else. Capoeira is going to be there, demonstration. So that's the next thing is coming up. I won't actually be performing at that, but that's something that I help organize. So please come through. And actually, my next sound bath will be April 29th at Coconut Elephant Yoga. Will be the last or next to the last day of April. And that's my next sound bath. And then we will start off with more in May. I do a few every month, so you can find me. If not at one place, somewhere I will be doing something.
Epic. Yeah. Very good. And anybody who is not in the area, do you have any offerings that are remote?
Not at the moment, but we are working on that, offering more online type of things so people can have access, because that has been something that people have asked about. And personally, like I love doing in person because it really is a different experience than experiencing through online. But lately, I'm wanting to reach out to those people who have shown interest outside of Richmond and can't get here. So yeah, it's coming.
It's coming. You said it. All right. Oh, thank you again.
Thank
it's been
you,
an
Ashley.
honor.
Truly.
Such
thank
an
you
epic
so much.
convo.
Yeah,
You're so welcome. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Love you so much and stoked to catch you in the next episode. See ya.
Peace.
Hey, love. Thank you so much for tuning in today for Spiritually Empowered Podcast. I hope you absolutely loved this episode. And if you did, please share it with somebody who you really feel would benefit from these teachings and from this remembrance. I hope you have an incredible day wherever you're at in your world, and I will talk to you very soon. Love you.